Welcome back, and now we're doing to the Disney Marathon thingy. So now we're doing Little Mermaid 2 for the PlayStation.
I wonder, have we done enough of these that it kind of goes beyond being a marathon and is just its own little mini-series?
It's a fine, the Disney tie-in series. We'll call it that.
Maybe our good old pals at THQ! The old
THQ.
By Blitz Games. Okay, so the title is actually misleading. It's actually an adaptation of both movies. You'd think that, I mean, they could have, I mean, I guess calling it the Little Mermaid duology would have been too fancy of a term for the year 2000.
Just come up with a subtitle like they did for Simba's Mighty Adventure.
I mean, Ariel's got two fins at the end of her tail. Why not just call it the Little Mermaid, the Two-Tailed Adventures or something?
Hooray! The menu is in Comic Sans.
Oh my god, it is.
Alright, so there are cheat options that are activated. You can activate infinite energy, no collision. So you can just completely disable the collision system of the game.
Not sure why you even need them, because the game is piece easy already on its own.
It is?
And at least it was for it. Yeah, it's similar to Black. This is never one of my classic, although it was technically for my sister. But I played a lot of these too.
Have you
like,
played
in
this one,
comparison,
Chris?
I haven't, but from what I've been seeing from people, I've heard it's actually kind of unnecessarily hard.
Is it? I don't see it.
well, you're here to see for yourself, Libs.
Pedro, I noticed you're playing
this-
with infinite energy on. What does that do for the game?
Infinite health.
Ah.
It just calls it energy.
Well, it's a common thing in older games where they call it
Mind
life
you,
energy.
again, you only have a few occasions where you can genuinely be hurt, but you can consider the idea that you need a lot of energy. At this first level, you cannot even do that. It's basically a
Have you
tutorial.
seen my Ariel?
Actually, I think it's voiced.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
I think all the voice actors from the movie came back for this.
Oh, I mean, well, Jodie Benson has always voiced Ariel. There's never been anybody else voicing Ariel, so.
Hi, Sebastian.
But yeah, no, it does sound like all the voice cast came back for this game.
I'd love to, Ariel, but I'm organizing the royal gala for your father. But if you need me, child, I'll be there.
Okay, I need to ask this because I don't know this particular trivia. Why does Sebastian have a Jamaican voice, accent?
I mean, beach, crab.
Yeah, because, I mean, the movie takes place, if I remember correctly, in the Caribbean.
Pretty much, yeah. So,
Yeah.
him having a Jamaican accent does make sense.
Hello, Alana. Oh,
Sure. The problem is when they try to replicate that in my country's dub, and it really doesn't sound what it probably wanted to go with.
Well, I'll give this game credit for one thing. Jodie Benson's putting up more of an effort here in this game than Big Nard did in the last one we did.
Well, Jodie Benson always does great.
I feel
sure,
like Ming
remember
Na
this
Wen
one.
was fine in the Mulan tying game, but
I was half asleep in that one.
Also, to answer Pedro's question, my only experience of Little Mermaid in video games is unfortunately Kingdom Hearts.
yep, I knew that was coming.
You easily pick your poison. Either you get a war with very awkward floating
Honestly-
controls, or a set of musical
like,
numbers.
help.
That's the thing. I honestly prefer the Little Mermaid world in Kingdom Hearts 2 over Kingdom Hearts. Because Kingdom Hearts 1's controls are really bad, like you said. Whereas at least the one in Kingdom Hearts 2 functions. As
Personally, I would have rather we refine the controls to be better instead of just go for a
Why couldn't
weird
we
out
get
of
past
nowhere
that?
rhythm game.
Why couldn't you get
Listen, I
past
think the
that?
controls in every Kingdom Hearts game are different
Speaking
anyway,
of-
but go on, Twips.
Yes,
Speaking
yes,
of gameplay, why couldn't you get past that mermaid on the far right?
intended.
because
of
this
video
is-
games.
No, this is actually the first. This being the first level, it's treated kind of sort of like a point-and-click game where you need to collect an object, pass it on to someone else, which unlocks another object, take it to someone else as a chain of deals.
Yeah.
You basically solve everyone's problem nearby, and you can progress.
Basically. You might have also noticed that this game kind of runs like crap. There's quite a bit of slow
Hey, we're
even when there's,
mean,
even
we're
when there's not
underwater.
much going on screen.
I mean, we're underwater.
Not that, is
Yeah.
that
Like
the
the-
developer excuse?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
it's like in Superman 64 with the kryptonite fog. Oh, we're underwater.
Oh, and here's the key to the treasure chest in Father's.
Wait, why do you have it?
Do you think we'll find some treasure?
She's one of her sister, I guess.
Let's steal our dad's treasure.
I will say this,
Hooray.
again, it is nice that the music does sound pretty well. I mean, look, if you're going to do a movie justice in its video game adaptations with the music, you best bet Little Mermaid is one of those.
I think the music is directly taken from the movie score.
Or at least we try to replicate that.
I'm also referring to the music quality as well. Again, PlayStation soundtracks kind of have a bit of hit and miss variety. Some sound great, others not as good.
Others sound really, really bit compressed.
So yeah, there's the occasional side quest, if you can call it that, where sometimes there will be characters that ask you out. But from what I could tell from my playthrough, they're mostly just fetch quests. Ariel, fetch me my gold ring. I can't find my gold ring.
I'm guessing it nets you some extra stuff if you do them.
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember. Also, Pog Face.
Oh,
Wait. So no one can leave the King's Kingdom until the pathetic old man finds his stupid ring.
There's,
Yes.
we're talking about the same personal band music, for the entire Kingdom just for a relatively petty grieving reason.
This king is horrible. He's worse than Emperor Cusco, and he was meant to be an arsehole.
okay, let's not go a little too far with things here and there. Trident can be strict,
No,
but...
I'm being serious.
Okay,
he
no-
bans music for stupid reasons. He won't let us leave the
There it
kingdom
is.
because he can't find his ring.
Given the
He's
fact...
horrible.
Not worse than Cusco was, though. Cusco, before he gets his development, literally was just gonna bulldoze some poor people's homes to make his own pool.
Yeah,
He's holding his people hostage. Is that much better?
a bit.
A
I will
bit.
say that it is.
Not
It's
much,
it's
but a
not
bit.
Good. It's not good, but it's definitely significantly better than ruining people's homes.
So in this version, Ariel's actually around for some of the pre-concert.
Let's go play.
But yeah, now he can go play. Oh wait, but first we gotta return the ring.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's basically the game. Most of the game is okay. Well, at least the first portion. The sequel portion becomes a bit more platformy.
Yeah.
But during the first half, because remember, throughout the entirety of the first half of the game, Ariel is in her mermaid form, so obviously they do this little thing where she controls kind of like Echo the Dolphin. So basically, you're just exploring the ocean looking for things. All right, so hopefully now I can explore. Thank you.
A Little Mermaid and Echo the Dolphin crossover.
Also, I love how on Wikipedia, this game doesn't get any page at all, but a spin-off pinball game on the Game Boy Color does.
Really?
Because somebody actually bothered to make a page for that, whereas nobody bothered to make it for this
Wikipedia
one.
just
It's
runs on the
weird.
whim of these contributors.
It's weird because it's not like this game was forgotten or lost to time. Now, it may not have been as popular as Simba's Mighty Adventure, but I don't think it was
Actually,
like...
again, it's probably a matter of perspective because I knew more about this than Simba's Mighty Adventure, believe it or not.
That being said, Dwebs, just before you go on, yeah, it's one of the many reasons why people like me have said that this movie hasn't aged particularly well.
Okay. I will say this. At the time of this recording, the Little Mermaid remake is in the wake here and there. I will say this. Of all the Disney Renaissance movies, The Little Mermaid is probably the one that could best go with a remake, for several reasons. It is not necessarily a terrible film. Like, honestly, if it were a terrible film, it wouldn't have been able to have kicked off the Renaissance the way it did. But it, like with something like a lot of the Golden Age films, it does have its fair share of issues. The fact that, as Shuri pointed out, the plot kind of goes from Ariel being an anthropologist to, well, suddenly wanting to be a human and be with the boy here and there. Not to mention the fact that, well, yeah, some plot elements are a bit problematic when you think about it. Also, it's kind of funny how the movie makes a big deal saying, oh, Ariel may never get to be with her family again. Sequel, oh no, actually I can just become a mermaid whenever.
Yeah, the
That's-
humans are totally chill with them popping out, like, to say hi. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't cause a problem whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Robin Clement and John Musker, but this movie is definitely their weakest effort, in my opinion.
Well, okay.
Also, just to
Well-
clarify, it's not that she doesn't like Eric, because she very clearly does. It's just that was never her initial drive.
Pretty
I
much.
still
to
think-
the surface whatsoever.
I still like this. I still like the movie. I like the movie enough. Again, I prefer. Like, if I was going to, if I'm okay, in terms of like comparing Clements and Musker films together, I would watch Moana over this, but I would watch this over, say, Treasure Planet.
Oh my god, it explains a lot that they also did Moana. I will say this.
Yeah.
While this movie is one of the weaker Renaissance films, if not the weakest, and that is debatable given how Pocahontas is in the equation.
I'm gonna side with Dwebs on this one. I'll still take this over Pocahontas.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. I mean, no. This may be one of the weaker Renaissance films, but I still do think it's a good movie. Again, if it were a bad movie, it would not have kicked off the Renaissance the way it did. It's just a movie that actually could use a remake to make things better. Now, if the live-action remake actually improves things instead of making them worse is something we have yet to see. I do hope that it's an improvement.
The one thing that I'm looking forward to when it comes to the Little Mermaid remake is the fact that the music is being composed by Alan Menken with lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Okay,
now
you
that's
got
a
my
dream
attention.
team.
Okay, you got my attention, movie. At least the soundtrack does, at least.
You know, you gotta love how incredibly eerie and creepy they go for on the second level. Like, hey, you go from happy-go-lucky area to suddenly, oh
Even
my
the
god.
music, if you pay attention. Not to mention, I don't know if Pedro actually manages to show it, but the game over screen can actually pretty ambush you in terms of how it's presented to you.
Really?
I think I do, because, I give myself infinite energy.
Basically, it will be showcasing a section. Not showcase, but a possibility of it happens at the end of this level, where you can potentially, die instantly from something if you don't know much about it. But the black screen is by the game.
Let me just say this: there's a hole here, but for some reason I can't go into it. Like
It's
there
in
was
the
a hole.
background.
Now it's gone.
There's a hole in the bottom of the sea, huh?
The game literally not cuts over, but immediately overimposes like an incredibly close up of Ursula, while her left high mic, peaking left immediately jumps over it. It basically jumps. Can't really get down to it.
all right,
Hey,
well,
I
this
remember
change is
this
going
part
on.
from Kingdom Hearts.
You might have also noticed how when I first got to the fork, and there was a small invisible wall, so I had to go up a bit more before I could go and reach the fork.
Oh!
I get the feeling. I get the feeling this game was definitely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this is what happened. Basically,
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Basically, the infinite energy mode is bugged. If you get caught by the shark, this happens.
So the shark eats you, but then just spits you out.
Allow me to
Peter's
remind
never
everybody, this is not
prosper.
a game This is not a code breaker code I got from the internet. This is an actual in-game sheet that the developers put in themselves. So you'd think they would play test their own cheats, but I guess not.
I don't know if that's something to do
Well,
with the emulator.
There we go.
Well,
Just
at least you don't get the jump scare game over screen.
Yeah, like I said.
Swim back to the shark.
Well, that's kind of what Flounder did in the
If I
original to
recall
taunt him.
correct, I don't know if it was Kingdom Hearts who did it first, but if I recall correctly, at some point the shark even got a name.
Did he?
Maybe it was Kingdom Hearts that gave him a name. Let me check. Let's see.
I don't even remember. But yeah, there's also some collectibles. 5 pearls, and one of them is by collecting all the little star thingies.
Coins, actually.
yes,
the starfish are for your health.
The shark's name
is
is
it-
Glut.
Get it?
Glut.
Gluttony.
Yeah, because gluttony.
And that's it.
Exhilarating.
You have all the bonus games.
But yes, as you
I
may
do
have
indeed.
noticed, Ariel's packing heat with some attack moves in this game.
Well, specifically a little spin
Oh!
attack thing. It kind of works. Like the controls are actually very similar to a more simplistic Echo the Dolphin, because Echo the Dolphin also has a similar attack.
Yeah,
we
I'll
cut
take-
immediately to the scene of maroon of Eric's
Yeah, out
ship.
of out of context. In this context, it makes it look like, and then Ariel blew up the ship.
See, and this is why they decided to cover both games, because there's not really enough in the first movie to fill a whole game.
I'd argue you could fill the game about that, but okay, even if we're not trying to do that, I'd argue that there was a level you could have put in between this and this.
I'll put it more
between the
simply,
last level
Jova.
and that.
Apparently, even if I haven't seen it, there is apparently a game that's based just on the first movie, done for the NES and Sega Genesis Mega Drive. So there had to be something that they could do to fill in the entire material. Again, I don't know actually how it plays, if it's any good or not, but I can imagine, it found something to cover an entire game worth of material.
I love how in this
Seriously,
version, Sebastian's actually encouraging that Ariel save Eric.
That
Because you
transition
have a
was
time limit, basically.
so non-existent. It seriously made it look like Ariel was the one that blew up the ship.
Like, okay, I know Simba's Mighty Adventure has its own moments, but nothing as egregious as that, except for maybe the Rhino chase level, but
Honestly,
even
Jova?
still... Yes?
Honestly, Jova, combined with the fact that the invincibility cheat that the game has wasn't properly play tested, and that, I get the feeling this game was probably one of the more rushed ones.
We did mention about who developers were, like what else they did, because I don't remember
Games.
here their catalog. Yeah,
Go ahead and check Lives while we...
I will
Sorry, what was the developer's name again?
Blitz Games.
Blitz. Gammy.
I will say this. Now,
Gamzo.
this is not necessarily a knock against the game. Like, again, let's assume that somebody played Echo the Dolphin and they really wanted to emulate that. I will say that this game, unfortunately, I don't feel like it feels as expansive and dynamic as Simba's Mighty Adventure did. That is partly due to the fact that you're locked to a 2D plane. So it goes from the ocean feeling like this deep and mysterious thing to, well, going off of this, it's apparently practically like a pond's depth, because we see the boats literally rowing above us, but you're telling me that they were this close to the bottom? Like, technically, one could have just walked off the ship and swam, maybe touched the ground a bit and swam back up. I get that it's that for the sake of a level, it's just... I feel like we could have made this level a bit more... Oh, and suddenly we go to the scene after Ariel's grotto get wrecked.
Okay, thank you, Jova. So, Blitz Games, they were a studio based in Leamington Spa in England. They were founded in 1990 and were defunct in September 2013. And their successor studio was Radiant Worlds Limited, who are now Rebellion Warwick. And as for the previous studio's games, they made such classics as Fero and Cloud, War Games DEFCON 1, the 1998 version of Glover, the Mummy Returns video game, Chicken Run, Lilo and Stitch Trouble in Paradise, Fairly
That one
Odd
was
Parents
fine.
Breaking the Rules. That's how
Oh.
it's said, by the way.
That one is interesting from what I've seen.
Pac-Man World 3, Reservoir Dogs, the video game.
So they mostly did licensed games.
Then he did all sorts of Atlanta Square Pantis, a Bratz game. Are you smarter than a 5th grader, aka Are you smarter than a 10-year-old here in the UK? So it kept going until 2013. Although their last proper licensed game was the PS3, 360, PC, and Vita versions of Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two.
Oh, boy.
Wow, so they ended off on one hell of a closer, it seems.
Okay, there were like 2 really minor games in 2013, but that was it.
Also,
Anyway.
yes, you've seen it correctly. Ursula is actually making Ariel work to what we get to her lair.
And what's even better, Sebastian is giving Ariel advice on how to do this too.
Well, Taylor, we have to provide gameplay levels somehow.
Okay. Going back,
I mean, again,
going back to how this game adapts stuff, we go from Ariel rescuing Eric. We don't even see her put him on shore to set up the scene for how he starts to pine for the girl who saved him. But suddenly we go to Ariel crying. We don't even see the scene.
Those adaptations. This is one of those adaptations, Joe, but that basically turns to you and goes, "You've seen the movie, right?" That's basically the.
Yeah, it abridges a lot.
Now that you have collected the potions, come in.
One thing that I will
Basically.
say, considering this is a completely, despite having 3D graphics, it's a 2D game, gameplay-wise. I feel like it would have been much better if they took the Hercules approach and once again make it full-blown 2D graphic using Disney animation to make the sprites like for Hercules. I feel like that would have made the game, again, not only would have been cheaper on their part development-wise, probably would have allowed them to maybe try to put more resources and time into the polish.
I wonder if this
was basically the only one on the PlayStation. Yes, there was a port of Mickey Mania, but that was an already existing game. Because Hercules was the only major Disney game that was still sprite-based on the PlayStation. I get the idea the thought process for Disney Interactive was that was basically a send-off, and everything else we're using 3D models.
I do get the feeling also that, okay, not only were 3D graphics the in thing at the time with the PlayStation here, but there may have been one of those cases where sprites were seen as a bit more of a taxing resource to work with, in the sense that, okay, one advantage that 3D models do have over sprites is that they're a lot more malleable, essentially. The idea with a 3D model is you have a set model, work with what animations you can off of that. Whereas with, sprite-based stuff, you have to, literally draw different sprites for each action here and there. Now, again, you got some companies that are still dedicated to that, but sprites do come with their own ups and downs here and there. I get why Ace Attorney migrated to 3D models. They were able to do way more expansive animations using said 3D models. It's interesting because with Apollo Justice, the way it started off was main game was in 2D and the cutscenes were in 3D. But with Dual Destinies...
Alright, so we're basically... I know, in terms of abridging, we're basically cutting off immediately to Ursula's boss fight. And if it would be looking any remotely familiar to you, this is because Kingdom Hearts took inspiration from this, believe it or not.
Oh, you mean for the boss fight where she froze in the potions during the fight?
Yes, yes. It's basically kind of like that.
Well, remember, Disney Interactive, that was the first Kingdom Hearts was made back when Disney Interactive was an active involvement in the video game asset. They didn't just hand out the game to a developer and just be hands off about it. So I can understand why that would be the case. That being said, one thing I would like to talk about regarding the controls is how Ariel's movement is very limited. I mean, compare this to something like Echo the Dolphin. We can go anywhere and you have a very, very free range of movement and really good controls. In this movie, in this game, on the other hand, there's a lot of times where you want to go somewhere, but sometimes it would be some kind of invisible wall blocking you. Again, like I said with that thing with the fork, where I couldn't get the fork right away. I had to first go up in a round to get the fork. Seriously, I really get the feeling this game was really rushed because there's a lot of invisible walls all over the game, both on the bottom and top of the screen, and even somewhere in the middle of the. Go on.
Hey, check it out. Her weakness is her own potions. Kind of like in the Kingdom Hearts boss fight, but...
not one-to-one. The Kingdom Hearts fight is much more complex than this. But here it's basically just throw everything.
Yeah, basically.
That said, though...
Just keep throwing it and you'll win.
Adaptation-wise, again, though, if you have not seen the movie, I would love to see how confused someone would be. Wait, she was going to Ursula to help her, but...
There we go. Also, you guys really wouldn't like Monsters in Scare Island because it's treated as basically a prequel, but the movie clips that you get are from the main movie itself.
Yes, it's really weird.
I love how after killing Ursula, Ariel turns to the camera and waves.
Good.
Okay,
okay.
It's like Wand of Gamelon. You killed me.
Good. Okay.
Ariel is a psychopath.
Okay. To give him some credit, aside from the fact that Trident is randomly one of those things, I guess you could argue that it's a fine enough transition to assume that Ariel was the one who killed and blew up Ursula, so... I mean, granted, that doesn't really account for all the other wild skipping we did.
Now we immediately cut to the sequel, Jovo.
Yep.
Wait, that was what?
That's it.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was so fast. Wait, what?
Sure. We only have like 7 months to make this game. We gotta rush through it. Come on, go.
You see, my child?
No.
You see, and that, my child, is the story of how I killed Ursula and took her crap.
And almost murdered your grandfather.
Why were you happy about it?
You're starting to see what I mean. I am genuinely convinced that this game was probably had a very short development cycle. Like,
Oh,
feels like they just
wait,
have to
hold
rush
on.
through it.
Hold on, and we skipped over the bit with Ursula's crazy sister and just cut to them building the wall. What?
Yes.
Yep.
Really?
Even in this movie.
They hadn't done the wall yet, so we had to build it. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why did we build a wall? We just felt it looked cool.
I'm getting some Beauty and the Beast Super Nintendo vibes at this point.
I
because of how
mean-
rushed
Gotta go
story
fast.
is. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it's not going to be like the end of the Terminator games where Kyle dies off screen.
Reference. Yeah, remember? Because
Oh,
because
wait,
in the
and
first movie, remember?
wait, hold on. So we cut to her surfacing, and now we're gonna cut to her diving
But right
again.
back down, I guess. I just needed a break.
Wow.
The first melody level is about essentially her quote unquote daily activity when she actually sneaks out.
Oh my god, Melody, what did they do to you? First off, her sprite on the text boxes. Her sprite looks bored as fucking shit to be here. And second, see if you can look at the face on her model, the 3D model. Look at her eyes.
Also, I gotta say,
Face on the cover is
Flounders-
enough
Flounders,
to be terrible.
Flounders one barely looks any better than when he got bootlegged in the Chip and Dale movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it does look like it actually.
Also, unfortunately, it really isn't showing it. But basically, for all the levels with melody, but that you mostly the other stuff, you do actually have an air meter.
Okay. So I do notice that in this version, Flounder actually hangs out with Melody. In the actual movie, it turned out it was a surprise that he was back and older when Ariel meets him.
Indeed. I have a theory, actually, because back in the day when we played this game in old TVs with very minute 240p resolutions, since we saw things very blurry, maybe the developers didn't bother making the eye textures better because whatever. It's not like you can see them properly because it's so low res.
Yeah.
But now with emulators, we can blow this up to 1080p resolution, make the game look much more clear, and see all the pixels exactly as they were made.
Melody, I thought I saw the dolphin around here earlier.
Oh my god, Melody's face is completely emotionless and lifeless.
Oh, no. Don't you
I
see,
mean, she's
Pedro?
up to what?
No, don't you see, Pedro? She was smiling. That's emotion.
She was? She is smiling? I don't.
She
really
was
see
in
a
that
smile.
bit. If you look closely enough, you'll see an upper crease. If we get a bit where
if I squint and do a lot of mescaline, maybe I'll see it. I
I noticed when you were holding still at one point that her face isn't a partial smile. Anyway, can she attack under like her mother?
Not
No.
on this level.
No.
I
To be fair,
guess.
she can attack in a later level, but not in this
I
one.
was okay.
You'll see.
I
You'll
guess,
see.
I guess kind of Kristen
Yeah,
really didn't get very far in the game.
I wonder
No,
what scene
well,
we'll
it's
cut to
understandable
next
too,
time.
in a way, because when he has to review a lot of games at the same time, he just gives a quick look, more than anything. Again, that's a contention point, but I can kind of get it. There's a reason why he didn't went through it much.
All right, everybody. Till the next time where we finish things.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.